All right, so yesterday went pretty good. The Radiant, as always, shot great. I love that gun. Originally got the lower, I built out that upper for it, and then I snagged the upper combo and ended up throwing a Criterion in there. Criterion Core 11.5. And I think it's running a Duck BCG currently. Um, Geisley, I think that's an SSAE. It just runs great. I love that gun so much. And the B&Ts was awesome too until that little mishap with the Elfmann trigger. I've already pre-cleared the gun. Everything's safe. Um, Look at that pin just fell right out. The other one's gone. I don't. It was so weird, man. I emailed B&T asking them for their input. So we're gonna go ahead and break this down for a second. So I don't know what happened to the other pin. It just kind of. The first magazine I ran was fine. Then I moved on to transition drills with the AR, with the Radian. And am I going to have to remove these safeties to get you out of there, buddy? Alright, so I did a couple searches. I mean, first of all, I'm ignorant when it comes to, well, a lot of things. But I never messed with a cassette trigger. Back when I started 3.5 years ago with my Anderson and forward, when I joined all the groups, whenever the topic of cassette triggers came up, most dudes just trashed them, said avoid them, don't use them, buy a Geisley. So I kind of heeded that advice and just went straight with standard triggers. And they've ran great. This is my first experience personally with a cassette trigger, and I gotta say it's a negative one. Because it came loose while shooting, and frankly, they just feel unsafe. Now, I did a couple searches. Essentially, there's a tension screw here, which, if I'm understanding correctly, does that help you tension down on the pin? And maybe that wasn't torqued properly at the factory, and or it wasn't quite torqued to spec, and there's no Loctite involved, I'm guessing. And that coupled with the fact that a little bit of recoil. I mean, we're talking 9mm. It's not a heavy round. We're talking B&T. Supposed to be some of the best there is when it comes to the precision of their products. Now, when I drop this through, and I'm just baffled why it falls through, the fact that the tension screw may have come loose might explain part of that. So I really don't know how to proceed. Obviously, I need a second pin to try to put it back together and maybe tension it down. I don't have a lot of faith at this point. Sadly, when I look to say, all right, do they sell aftermarket triggers for these, like a Geisley? Apparently, Geisley did sell one at one point for the APC9. They have since been discontinued. I don't know why. I haven't done a deep dive on that. And that's pretty much it. That's all that existed for aftermarket other than the Elfmann. And if I go onto the B&T Parts website, even their stock trigger is $300. I'm like, whoa. All right, now I'm trying to get this safety off. There's no movement there. Okay, let me watch a quick video just to... I thought that was correct, but it's just not coming off. Please stand by. Okay, figured it out. I was thinking like radiant lateral. If you look here, definitely slides up, not to the side. So let's try that again and be careful to retain it. There we go. Okay. Then we have our spring. Let's put you here. Let's grab that spring. We'll have something small. This is always good for small parts. Let's put you there, definitely put you there. And then we just apply a little bit of pressure. And I did see in another video to watch out because there is spring tension under here. And you're supposed to just work it on out, apply some pressure this way. There we go. There's a bit of spring tension there, so cover that. It's good to do this anyway, just to see exactly how these, and there's that spring. Now you said they do sell, HBD Industries sells a, because the safeties on these are really tactile, very tough to push, they're not easy. They sell a softer spring if you want to change that. So let's go ahead and remove you. And then we have another one of these over here. It just fell on the floor. Hold on. Let's get that where it needs to be. There's some dielectric grease or that gray stuff. Okay, so as we can see, now you can see where those two, that's where the Elfmann, make sure we have everything accounted for. That's where the Elfmann was seated. So these two set screws, which from the top is probably how you set it down. They're into the aluminum there. Alright, so that still doesn't explain how easy that pin moves freely. Now, are these both identical inside? Yeah, okay. So I thought maybe one was fatter and one skinnier. No. So, if these set screws, they tighten down into the receiver. I don't see how that has any bearing on the retention of the pin itself. So we're back to scratching the head, wondering why is that so loose? Why don't these have any resistance? Now, is there any connection in any way from these set screws to that? I don't see it, bro. Now there's another set screw that adjusts this spring tension here. Again, is that, maybe that is what they set to add retention to this. One way to find out would be to find the right size for this and torque it down a bit and see if this gets tighter. So let me find the appropriate hex key for that and we'll move forward. Alright, let's see what size this guy is. So this would be the back rear portion. Now that has two springs, and that might, well, I'm not really seeing that it would, but let's figure it out. Now what size are you, bud? You look like maybe 3/32. Let's try him. Too big. So one size down would be 5/64, which might be the winner of today's prize. Let's see. Yeah, that's him. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Just a quick test because I'm not sure yet if the internal mechanism somehow clamps down on this thing. Unless, then the other explanation is they used the wrong pins when they built it. So I'm turning clockwise. I'm not seeing any reaction. Could it? Interesting. No, I'm not seeing any reaction. Is that the same size? Yes. So all these set screws are doing is tensioning against the receiver itself. I see no direct correlation between any of these set screws and its retention to the pin. Which brings us back to, could it be a blem that got at a QC at Elfmann? And could the housing be oversized? Or are the pins undersized? That's my only two logical conclusions on that. So, I guess we're going to have to do a deep dive. I've already reached out to B&T. I'm going to send them an email to the Elfmann support people, explain the situation. Let's leave the parts here. I wish I could just grab an aftermarket regular trigger, like a Geisley, get it in there, confidence restored, sell that to somebody who likes, fucking Elfmanns and be done with it, but you can't. Sadly, I found out when I searched today that you can't just pop in a standard AR trigger. Something to do with the hammer? I'm not 100% clear on that. I'm still wondering why this is so wonky here, too. For a close to $3,000 gun, some of the parts are a little... Yeah. The mag release is super stiff to the point of insanity. This is wobbly as shit. Meh. Well, the snob said, get you a B&T, get rid of those trash Tribogs and Scorpions, but honestly, I'm not seeing a huge difference. And I never had any trigger problems with my Scorpion or my Stribog, just saying. Alright, so we'll move forward from there. Nothing I can do until I reach out to Elfmann and see what the hell's going on with this thing. Perhaps I need larger pins. I need tension there. I need those hard to push through without some pressure. Just like any other standard trigger. Until we can figure that out, B&T is obviously down for the count. Definitely a big oof for B&T and for Elfmann, so we can figure this out. But we will figure it out one way or the other. Let me put that back in so I don't lose it. And that's about it for this part of the saga. Into the drawer he's going to have to go until we can figure this out. Do we have space for Mr. B&T? Yeah, doubtful. May have to put him in the safe. Yeah, he ain't gonna fit in. Alright, till next time, I guess, your boy, Jake Merica. We'll see if we can get this B&T back on track. Enjoy your Sunday, everybody. Peace.